Last week, I did a dialing in video that was featuring the amazing Cosmos Echo that we have in our Helix and HX Stomp. This is a fabulous echo pedal or delay effect, however you want to refer to it, but it has some very unique features about it. And in the process of going through the dialing in video, it got me thinking about other uses for it. And today I want to talk about using it as a possible very interesting reverb that maybe we didn't know actually existed in the Helix. We do have to set it a very particular way, but it can give us some very interesting outcomes. So come with me over to HX Edit and let's see what we can do to get this Cosmos Echo possibly acting like something other than a typical delay or echo. All right, so here we are over in HX Edit, and I have a little preset set up here that I call Cosmos Verb. I've got the Cosmos Echo on a normal little template that I would normally use with just a dash of LA Studio Comp, a parametric EQ, just doing nothing but low and high cut here, a little low and high shelf, but I have a couple amps set up on two different snapshots. And the reason I have this is I have the Matchstick Channel 1 set with these settings. I think just the stock settings that come up through this cabinet with a 160 ribbon mic, 1.5 inches back. And I also have the Rev Gen Red through a 412 Greenback 25 with these kind of stock settings. And the reason I have both of those on is just so that I want to let us hear how this Cosmos Echo kind of acting as a reverb will sound through more of a cleanish sound and also through a distorted sound. So basically these tones are as follows. And if I just turn the Cosmos Echo off, I have the Matchstick tone here. I'm playing through my Vigier Expert Strat style guitar. Or I can switch over to the Rev. And we get that tone, very dry. There's no other delay or reverb on this at all. So let's start off with the Matchstick Channel 1 setting. This was on the bridge pickup. Go to the neck pickup. That's a nice tone we could use. So coming over to the Cosmos Echo, if anybody hasn't watched my dialing in video from last week, I would encourage you to go watch it because I'm not going to go through all of the features in this video. I did that last week. But the one thing that we do want to recognize is this mode here. And you'll notice I said last week, if we set this to mode 3, that's going to be one of the various playback heads that this tape echo is going to use. And this is going to act more like a traditional echo. And if I bump up right, really nothing special going on there. But as soon as we bring it down to that mode 1 or this other shorter playhead, it chops the length of our time setting down. So we get a much faster echo. So if I was to bring this time control way down though, with a setting of number 1 on the mode or the playback head we're using, we now get something that's much more in the realm of reverb. Now, if I bring that mix control up to 50%, really the only things we're going to be looking at today are the time, the feedback, the mix, maybe a little bit of wow and flutter and some bass and treble. We're not really going to be looking at changing the mode much because we've got it kind of where we want it to be on this little reverb setting. I will put my trails on though. So if I bring that feedback down to 0, it almost is like a slapback style of an effect, but I mean, it's almost not even there. I mean, we could really argue about whether it's just a slapback delay or more of a reverb, but what gets interesting though is when we bring more feedback into the picture. And I'm going to crank this up fairly high. We get a really neat kind of less about echoed repeats, although they're just very fast, but it almost gives more of a reverb effect. Now that might be kind of extreme, but if I was to bring the mix down on that, versus if that was off. See how it sort of takes on this reverb life of its own, right? Or we could go with a higher mix again and just keep the feedback a little lower. Now, the other neat thing we can do there is we can adjust the time up a little bit more. Obviously, if we get it too high, we're just going to be back into the realm of typical delays and echoes. But if we can even get it up to maybe we will enter the realm of just kind of a real typical kind of slapback echo. Another interesting thing we could do is even pull that up and put it before the amp for a different kind of an effect. Right, so it kind of accentuates the effect a little bit more. Let's just keep it after for now, but so really, depending on where we set that time, it's going to sort of maybe cross over into that kind of slapback echo or slapback delay. But we can, with some careful kind of tweaking here, get some pretty interesting reverb type effects. Now, the other interesting thing is we can bring in the wow and flutter too. I'm going to crank it up just for the sake of showing you what it does at a different extreme. It's almost like adding some modulation in. That's obviously a pretty extreme setting. So some pretty neat stuff there. If I take the feedback right down, again, bring that mix up. Versus with it off. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, the bass and treble controls can also be quite handy. If I take the treble and crank it up, it almost turns it a little more into a more of a traditional slapback at those extreme settings. But we can really color the sound of this ambience. Same thing with our bass. Now, how does that all sound with a heavier tone? So again, here is the rev sound without the Cosmos Echo on. Put the Cosmos Echo on with those same settings. So some pretty interesting effects can be had from the Cosmos Echo in sort of thinking of it more as maybe a reverb style effect rather than a traditional delay. So I know some folks may think that, well, that just sounds more like a traditional slapback delay, but there's a very cool character to the Cosmos Echo. Controlling that feedback, keeping the time really low, playing with your mix control, we can almost get it to be a little bit more like a reverb. Now, it's obviously not going to be as flexible as a dedicated reverb, where we can really control decay times and mold those in an interesting way, but it just is another creative effect that, if we think of it in this way, maybe it'll spark some new tones and ideas, and maybe just give us a tone that we possibly couldn't get from a different reverb. It's interesting to note too that I could have really picked any delay in the Helix that can go down to a very short delay time. And depending on the flavor of that delay, it's probably going to give us a similar effect, and we could probably tweak it to give us more of a kind of reverb quality. I really like the character of the Cosmos Echo, and I like some of the tweaks we can have with the wow and flutter. The possibility of even adding another head in at the same time is really cool. I didn't really go down that path in this video, but if we selected the 1 and the 3 at the same time, we could get that sort of reverb effect and then add in kind of the longer, more traditional echo and blend those together as well, which is kind of cool. So this is kind of a video that I chose the Cosmos Echo to kind of showcase this, but don't be afraid to grab even other delays and echoes that are your favorites and try similar things. You might come up with some pretty cool kind of, pseudo reverbs that are maybe just borderline in the slapback echo type of a thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a fun little idea to kind of get you guys thinking about maybe a new way that you could use an existing effect that we maybe never thought of before. And I thought that there was some pretty cool tones to be had there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some use out of watching it. And also please subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for sharing your time with me. Ciao for now.